You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, I think it's fair to say that if this was to happen, it would end up being maybe the shock of the draft. And what I mean by shock of the draft is the idea that the Commanders would trade the number 2 overall pick to somebody that badly wants a quarterback. And frankly, if I'm New England and the Commanders are open for business, I'm trading up to 2 and taking Jayden Daniels. But I think most of us would expect that the Commanders will either take Daniels or Drake Maye or J.J. McCarthy. And there's a lot of draft boards that are starting to switch out McCarthy for Drake Maye right now as we go. But this story comes out, and they're both from PFT, but one's from Florio, one's from Michael David Smith. And Dan Quinn does acknowledge they're likely taking a quarterback in this draft. But one's got to wonder, are they taking one later now? Then they're going to take one at the top of the draft. Like, in other words, could they trade back and take a Bo Nix? You know, take a Michael Penix Jr., which is one of my favorite quarterbacks in this draft. You know, some people are talking Spencer Rattler. I cannot imagine. I do not think he's going to be he's got eventual UFL written all over him. He gives me Kellen Mond feelings all over the place. So the Commanders hold the 2nd overall pick in the draft. They've traded the 2023 starting quarterback Sam Howell, and they've signed Marcus Mariota, the former Titans starter for much of the 2022 season, the starting quarterback in Atlanta. New head coach Dan Quinn has acknowledged that the Commanders will be emerging from the 2024 draft with another quarterback. So they're going to take a quarterback. Question is where? Quote, I would say it'd be fair to envision we'd be taking a quarterback, Quinn said from the NFL's annual meetings on Saturday via NFL.com. To say where it'll be happening, I think that's a better question for general manager Adam Peters. Now, Peters was part of the group that traded up in San Francisco to take Trey Lance. It should also be noted that it was him and Jed York and John Lynch that wanted Trey Lance while Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones. So, as of right now, neither look like it's worked out. But I think if we're to be fair, Mac would have worked out better in San Francisco than he did in New England just because of what's around him. So, anyway, point is, it would be interesting to see Adam Peters go the opposite direction and trade out of that spot. But we know Minnesota has moved up, and there are reports there is a trade in place with somebody right now. My gut feeling is it's the Cardinals or the Patriots. But could it be the Commanders? We don't know. But there is a deal in place because the Vikings went up and grabbed that extra first-round pick. So somebody is getting the 11th and 23rd pick in those top 4 to 5 picks. All right? As the next weeks unfold, there'll be a lot of discussion, and that's why we've had a great trip out seeing some guys. We'll do some more in the weeks ahead, but I've enjoyed that process with Adam and going through it. He's somebody that's an absolute expert at this position, what it looks like, where to go, and going through that process has been really cool. So, that brings us over to this. Dan Quinn acknowledged they're listening to trade calls right now. And one's got to think this team is lacking some talent. Them, the Patriots, either one of these teams could certainly load up. And this is the draft that if you want to straighten out your offensive line and straighten out your wide receiving core, especially if you're the Patriots, this is the draft to do it in. I mean, you can correct 2 major issues on the offensive side of the ball in this draft. So, LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels is widely expected to be the Commanders' pick at number 2 overall. Quinn said the Commanders are getting close to setting the top of their draft board, but they haven't finished evaluating the quarterbacks. Quinn did say the Commanders' phone is ringing in trade talks and the Commanders will listen, but it sounds unlikely anybody would offer enough to get them to move down. Yes, I would say it's ringing, and because, like you said, of the top talent of this group this year, Quinn told Tom Pelissero of NFL Network, and so I would anticipate him fielding these calls as it goes through, and usually not necessarily later than number 6 or 7, but those people are usually in the top 4 or 5. There's somebody that somebody has targeted, and I think it's mostly like, well, I've got to take a shot. A lot of times it's no, like thanks for calling, but it is part of the process. You have to do your due diligence to listen and to find out. I certainly walked in the past in the hallway when the Cowboys, years ago, for a trade that involved Herschel Walker and many draft picks that changed a lot of their organization. So I think anybody in personnel with the skills of Adam, they're going to listen. But there's only so many things you'd consider, and it better be really good. So he's saying, look, we might be open for business, but if you want that pick, you're giving us the world. You're giving us the world. And look, I think most teams are listening right now. I mean, honestly, except for, I guess, the Bears. But, it wouldn't shock me. The team that I expect that may move based on who's left is the Patriots, the Cardinals, and the Chargers. All right? Because if somebody wants J.J. McCarthy, they've got to get ahead of the Giants because they're taking him. They're taking him or Drake Maye, one of the two. If one of the two is there, he'll be gone. And then if they want Bo Nix, they better get ahead of the Broncos because that's where you're probably seeing Bo Nix go. What's going to be interesting, and I've got another video coming about draft picks and the Raiders. There's another quarterback floating out there, and it's going to be interesting to see if the Raiders actually pull the trigger on him and draft him. But the point is, my gut feeling tells me the Commanders will not do this. I think they're going to take Jayden Daniels. I feel like there's a chance J.J. McCarthy goes number 2. And a lot of people have said, well, we don't know what the Patriots will do. I think the Patriots like J.J. McCarthy a lot, actually. And if you look at Elliott Wolf, he reminds me, Elliott Wolf was with the Browns when all of a sudden they roared up and took Baker Mayfield. J.J. reminds me a little bit of Baker, right? And can kind of slide around, a little squirrely, throws the ball good on the run. I think JJ's going to be better maybe than Baker on 3rd and 4th down. He was very good in college. JJ's roaring up the charts right now. So we'll see. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.